Yeah, me know. This is Kia Bamba, so we run the whole of Switzerland and the whole of Europe, and we run the whole of etc, etc. You don't know, devil shaman says so, me I bat them to the max. And it's like some idiot someone want to stop them from get a piece of the pie. Oh, I'm told disrespect, could go and die. Yeah, me know. Kia Bamba, them have dubs, we play fast, I play slow, them have flows. Like nobody knows, them kill soul, no sound clash and dance all. And mash up stage shows, but some guys...
Welcome back. Only Friends on a Power Day here. Very excited to have a fresh human actually on the couch who was in our last episode. Welcome, Rory.
Oh, thank you very much.
Lovely to have you here in Torquay. And we have a very special guest who is blowing up social media at the moment. Lily Tomkinson, how are we, love?
I'm great. How are you guys going?
Good. So you're currently in...
I'm currently in Alice Springs, actually, believe it or not, somewhere I have never been before. And I'm here working with animals and wildlife and remote communities.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I was going to say F yeah, but I toned it back. So
Censored it down. Smart move.
For the kids. So, Lily, you are gaining a lot of traction currently because you've been on Farmer Wants a Wife.
I was, yes.
And I believe that you sent yourself off the show.
Yeah, a little bit of a dramatic exit there, but I did, yeah.
It doesn't sound like you at all.
Oh, no. Who could that be?
No. The way this whole podcast to explain came about is your mum, Lily, and I had a really close relationship when she was obviously in Falls Creek and had a lodge in Huckabah. And I'd be consoling her late at night when Lily's done her bloody knee again.
Oh, no.
And would be there drinking wine with her and telling her everything would be all right. So she actually saw my last episode with Layla and said, you need to talk to Lily about her career. And the funny thing is I was like, that's a great idea. Thank you, Justina, aka Beena. And I had no idea that you were on Farmer Wants a Wife at that stage. And yeah, since we started this conversation, we've seen you kind of explode recently with a bit of a social media following, probably not so much from the Farmer Wants a Wife, but I feel like a lot more with your, working kind of as a vet and doing conservation and all the rest of it. So, yeah, really excited to have you here to talk about, what was your life and your passion before that, which was alpine skiing.
Yeah, it was. Gosh, it feels like a million years ago that I was doing that and that I was even on snow. Something that I did all year round since, what it's like, Layla, since we're about 2 years old. And then all of a sudden you can't do that anymore ever. It was just a very, very strange way to feel and just life backflipping on you fully.
Yeah, the rug sort of got pulled out from underneath you with injuries. It was never your career was never anything to do with a lack of drive or a lack of talent. I think that was the hardest thing, especially for us to watch on the outside. You were so skilled in what you did and you worked so hard. Even since you were a kid, when you decided that's what you wanted to do, I haven't seen many people work as hard as you did. And then every time we got the call, from Beena just being like, she's done her knee again. I think that would be such a hard thing when it's not a choice that you got to make, where you were like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I want to try something else. Maybe this isn't the path that most aligns with me, because it really did. And then all of a sudden your body was just like, we're not doing this anymore.
And I guess that's the other reason I really wanted to bring Layla on to be a guest host, not just this time, but more often, is because I found out that, I obviously knew you guys grew up closely together in Falls Creek, but Layla was actually your babysitter as well.
Yeah, she
And I guess,
was. Layla was pretty much my big sister.
yeah. And her dad was obviously a huge mentor to you. And I know, from talking to your mum that your dad, Layla's dad, saw you as a huge talent with what I'd say always came across as the big kahunas in alpine skiing, which I think is obviously very important in that game, and someone who could have, really gone super far. And I think a lot of your results when you were on show that, and some of your results where you did not finish also show that you weren't staying in your comfort zone at any time throughout that. So we will get into that soon. Before we get into that, how the hell did you end up on Farmers Once a While? Tell us all.
Oh, God. Look, it was a bit of a year where I was having a yes year and I was just saying yes to every opportunity that came my way. And I feel like I'm someone who really thrives out of my comfort zone. Obviously, when you're out of your comfort zone, it's when you learn so much more about yourself and you develop so much as a person. And when I got the opportunity to go on Farmer, I was like, this is just not something I ever saw myself doing, first of all. Second of all, am I even the right person to go on reality TV? Probably not. But also, am I going to regret it? Am I going to regret saying no to this if I don't go? And the answer was, yeah, I am going to regret it. So I'm like, well, I need to do it. I need to just go and see how it goes. And being on there was really confronting for me because I'm such an independent person. I do everything myself, and all of a sudden you're on the show and you're not allowed your phone, you're not allowed to go to the bathroom on your own, you're not allowed to talk to certain girls from certain farms, like they separate you. Everything's done really strategically. You like everything's planned out for you. You have your babysitter to hold your hand wherever you go. And it was just, for me, I was just like, I hate this. This is awful. Like the first 4 days, we shot the first episode over 4 days. So same hair, same dress, same makeup, 4 days straight in 45-degree Hunter Valley heat. That dress got burned. I never want to see it again. And that was just like, even if you watch the first episode back, you can see stills of my face. And they love filming my face because I looked so pissed off 24/7 because I just hated being there.
You've got a good resting bitch face.
I have a really good resting.
I think you actually inherited that very, very well from your mother. The amount of times I've looked at that face, I was like, holy Jesus, that is Bina's angry face to a T.
Yep.
So very comedic for us who know your family. Like, I obviously don't know you half as well as Layla do, but I feel like I obviously know your brother and sister quite well because they were in Huckleberg. You were always away.
I was always away doing my knee, yeah.
Yeah, you were always away causing drama.
Yeah.
So yes, I'd constantly hear about that, but yeah, no, it's great to have you on, and I feel like I was visiting some friends last week, helping them out with some work, like Bucky from Black, and all the girls who work with him. I'm like, oh my God, Lily, yeah, and they were all talking about Farmer and the wife, and I was telling them that I'm talking to you this week and you're actually a skier, and they didn't really talk about that much on the show. They should have talked about that more. I did interviews for like hours and hours long where they would make me go so deep into my skiing journey and how it shaped me as a person. And Dylan and I actually had so much in common with his sport in rodeo and the injuries that he's had, and then my sport in skiing. And we spoke about that a lot in our speed dates, and it was all cut. And then on our blind date,
we spoke about it in even more depth, it all got cut. And then like even when we went horse riding, I did like this whole course of like show jumping, and it got cut. Like everything I did, like when we drenched the sheep, it just got cut. Everything that I was good at got cut because clearly I was like very, very accomplished at every task I was given, and it probably didn't like send a good image to the audience to show me being good at all these different things.
Didn't suit the narrative.
They wanted to make you mad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a hard thing. I mean, I've never been on a reality TV show, but my mum has. And it's always...
Your life is a reality TV.
My life is a reality TV.
Yeah, let's be honest.
But it's always hard with the edits because you yourself, you going into it, you can only be yourself. You can only... You're good at stuff naturally, so you're not going to pretend like you're not.
Exactly.
I would assume you'd expect that they'd want to put that sort of stuff in, but whatever they've already picked a narrative pretty much as soon as you guys have gotten there, and the producers will filter in and out of whatever they think is going to get the most views, as the whole world pretty much works these
Angry
days.
face will get the most views.
It does every time.
Yeah, but it's always hard. Like, no, I don't think many people ever feel like they get a good edit, but when there's stuff like that where you're like, you're quite accomplished in the field that you're in all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they cut everything. I can only imagine watching that. You would have been like, what?
Yeah. It was honestly, I was expecting them to show more than they did. Like I was thinking leading up to the show airing, I was like, oh, I did this day. I wonder if they're going to show that. Or I remember I was talking about this and I was mic'd up, and oh, why was I talking about that while I was mic'd up? And I did this really stupid thing that they thought was funny, and then nothing made it to air. So I was really quite shocked. I was expecting to be exposed in all these different ways, but I ended up almost getting cut from the show completely. For example, there was this gold scene that I thought, this is something that's going to go viral. Everyone's going to be talking about this. And it got completely cut from the show. I was so shocked. So in South Australia, they have this law where if you rescue wildlife, specifically kangaroos, they actually can't be released back into the wild. So Dylan has a license where he can rescue kangaroos. So he's got a big enclosure with a couple of red kangaroos and eastern grey. And we went down there and we did some filming with the kangaroos. And I was kind of just talking to the group and I was just like spitting out random facts about macropods, just regurgitating information because I was like, oh, this will be good. And then one of the girls who, her name's Tennille, lovely girl, love you so much, Tennille. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and she stood up and she goes,
kangaroo's missing in the top paddock.
Few kangaroos missing in the top paddock. Love you, Tennille. But she stands up and she goes, you know, Lily, it's just so fascinating, I think, about kangaroos is that I just can't believe that we evolved from them. And everyone kind of stopped, and even the cameramen had to like stifle their laugh. And I said to her, do you want to rethink what you just said? And she was like, yeah, like I just think it's so weird that we evolved from kangaroos and we don't have tails or anything. And I was like, I went up close to her and I like covered my mic and I was like, Tennille, you don't actually think that, right? Like taking the piss, like good TV, like just let me know. Bit? Yeah, are we doing a bit right now? And she's like, Lily, I learned this at school. They taught me this. And I was like, Tennille, I don't know what school you've been to, but I think it needs to be shut down. And we actually had like this it wasn't an argument. I was just like trying to educate her. I was like, Tennille, you know that we evolved from the common ancestor of apes. You must know that. She was like, no, dead set. Like we evolved from kangaroos. And I actually had to walk away. I was like, unmic me. Like I actually can't do this anymore. And they just went on like ages, like asking all the other girls, like, who do you think's smarter, Lily or Tennille? It's like, guys. Wow. Anyway, I thought that was definitely going to make it to air, and it never did, and we were all so disappointed.
I mean, well, it has now, so.
Yeah, there you go. They have to air it now.
Sharing it now. Hopefully that becomes a viral clip.
I hope so. Channel 7, can you please share that now?
Please.
Please.
So yeah, I guess that's also a funny thing is once I realised you had been on Farmer Wants a Wife, I actually had to ask for permission to interview you, and I believe that something might have happened. They might have like said maybe not until the end of this month, and then something.
And then I just said to them, "I'm doing the interview. Like, you can be behind me or not." Pretty much.
And I actually did write back to them and say, "So Lily said everything's all right. Is everything all right?" And I actually got no response. So I'll take that as Lily wins.
Yep. Every single time. Like you said, Layla, there's not many people more stubborn than I am.
Yeah, it's very true.
And knowing your mother quite well, that does not surprise me.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think Lulu, my younger sister, she doesn't quite have that stubbornness. Fred has it a little bit, but I think I definitely have the most of it for sure.
Yeah, you caught the full brunt of that. I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
The full brunt.
Yeah, it's the full brunt, but also a superpower, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like I look back and I go, you know, when I was 15 and I did my knee for the first time when I was in Nikiska in Canada, life would have been so different if I wasn't as stubborn as I was, and I just quit right then and there because most people would have. And life could have been so different if I just quit skiing then and just pursued animals or wildlife or whatever it was. Is stubbornness a superpower or not? Because I mean, at the end of the day, I've destroyed my body and I didn't get to where I wanted to in skiing, unfortunately. So I mean, that is something that often crosses my mind. Like, oh, you know what? If I wasn't so stubborn, maybe I would have made a better choice for my body. You know.
But on the flip side of that,
how many lessons did you learn?
Exactly. And at 15, imagine if you did quit at 15, and you could be sitting here now being like, oh, imagine it. What would have happened if I didn't quit? I could have made it.
Yeah.
You know? Like it goes both ways.
You can play the if, ands, and buts game all day.
Yeah, exactly. And
this is what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are, and you've definitely put your body through it. That is for sure. But it's like the drive to go through all of that, that'll translate into anything that you do. Yeah. Like I watched when you decided to study this, I watched you studying and I was like, oh, she's going to put just as much oomph into whatever her path is, the same amount that you put into skiing.
And I saw her ex-coaches like Zabu, who's Simon Costa's ex.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking of
Jesse Pitt. Yeah.
Instagram,
I was like,
Zabu. Saying exactly the same thing. Like, you are so determined that anything you do, it will translate to like full commitment. So on that, let's before we get carried away and jump around, let's go back to the start. Grew up in Falls Creek. Mum and Dad had a lodge which was built by the grandparents, Julian's, which is now Elk, which is where you kind of grew up. Tell us about the origins and the early days of like your racing career and your love for skiing, and how that evolved into representing Australia and being an elite skier in the hardest discipline there is.
Yeah. Look, my earliest memory of skiing would just be like being at Falls Creek and just like jumping off rocks and getting huge air and like putting my life in complete and imminent danger. That is the stuff that I found the most fun. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a huge adrenaline junkie, and that's the shit that I just thrived off. And to me, like, the more dangerous, the better, right? So I like was hanging around with a group of like ragtag little boys, and we'd just go and run, and we'd be like racing and jumping and just like having fun. And then I remember like it was probably Interschools, or maybe it was Vic Champs or something, and doing a GS race, and I like won it by a lot, and I was like, oh, this is actually like pretty fun. I want to do this more. And
I like winning.
Yeah, winning's fun. This is a pretty good feeling. How do I do this more? And then from there, just like obviously Steve was so supportive of that and took me to like races, even down the track. Like he's taken me to heaps of races in Japan, and we'd just go and do some Super G races, and he was so good to have there. And and then I'd obviously have my mum supporting me. I'd have Steve, I'd have Layla, and like it was a very supportive environment to be skiing at. And from a young age, just having like zero fear is such an advantage, because obviously kids get scared pretty easily. And I didn't have that at all up until I was 15, when I did my knee. And that was when I really started to experience fear for the first time.
Realised you weren't invincible. And I think,
correct.
Lily, that's a big, like anyone who talks about you ski racing says that you were very fearless. And especially on that downhill pathway, you're a huge promise for Australia. And that's why Steve took so much interest in you, apart from his daughter babysitting you, is that you had, as I said before, the cojones or the mettle to really succeed in that area. And as I was saying to Layla before, it's such a fine line and millimeters or whatever between, being the very best in the world, which, you won quite a lot of events and you were right up there, and, getting a do not finish. And yeah, I think, your career is a testament to that. And so what really, like, you still obviously, like, you did your knee 4 times, right?
Yep.
So you were still obviously, regardless of the fear and the mental battles, still giving it a good crack after you felt invincible. Like, how did you overcome that?
It was really like I got really unlucky, basically. So I was 15, I did my knee, I did every ligament, cartilage, and meniscus in my knee, everything in there. And
You did a good job.
I did a good job, yeah. And I was recommended a doctor from the Olympic Winter Institute of Australia and a surgeon. Went and had the surgery done, had an amazing physio behind me, and got back on snow 11 months later, and my knee just fucking blew up from underneath me when I was actually just stopping on my good leg. So I was stopping on my right leg, pulling up to stop, and my left leg just like exploded from underneath me. And I knew exactly what had happened. I didn't crash or anything. And then I was in Austria and I went straight and got an MRI, and the MRI revealed, like, the doctor came in and she was like, you've been completely botched. I don't know who your surgeon was, but, he's used staples instead of screws. Your tunnels where the ACL has been stapled into is in the complete wrong spot. I don't know why they've drilled it like this. Of course, your graft has completely failed because they've done your knee to the standard of a 6'3" tall man, not a 5'2" woman. So, and not only that, half your hamstring's missing from your leg. They've taken your graft maybe 5 or 6 times. I don't know why they've taken so much hamstring from your left leg. Maybe because they kept messing it up. But there's a lot of things wrong here. And hearing that for the first time I think I was, 16 at this stage, I was just like devastated. Like, mum had taken out like 2 credit cards to pay for the surgery. Like, everything was really on the line. And to hear that, like, I've just had over a year taken away from my life and my career based on a surgeon making incorrect decisions was like no other word for it except fucking devastating.
So yeah, Lily, basically surgery got botched a bit and the focus wasn't on what went wrong. The focus was on how do we make this better? How did you get through that?
I think at the time I got on a plane to come to mum to see her in Japan because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know really the extent of how bad it was and what we needed to do to fix it. So while all my scans and results and everything got sent to a myriad of different doctors and surgeons back in Australia, my leg was so swollen that I couldn't have surgery straight away anyway. So we made the decision, like, I'm just going to go to Japan, see mum, see my family, and then we're going to make a decision from there, because I didn't have anyone, even if I was going back to Australia, I didn't have any family or anything that I could stay with because everyone was in Japan skiing, running the lodge. So mum was like, just come over here. We'll make a decision when you get here. We'll talk about it. We'll go through it. So I went to Japan, which was, which was even more depressing, I think, because I had to watch everyone ski powder every single day. It was like one of the best seasons ever. And I was like hella depressed in my room going, what am I going to do? Waiting to hear back from doctors, waiting to hear back from surgeons, waiting, hurry up and wait. And that was awful. That was so awful. I was grateful to be like with my family, not like on the other side of the world alone. Yeah. But yeah.
At least
it was pretty tough.
At least you could fly somewhere and have some support, because I could only imagine getting that news in a foreign country when you've got coaches and you've got the crew that you're racing with, but it's different. Like
it's an individual sport at the end of the day. Like you're thinking about yourself and how this is going to affect you and your results and your career and
it's business,
where
right?
it's business.
Far out. Yeah, definitely. I think we all remember your mum a few times and then again and again. So first one, how did the recovery go? What were your thoughts as you started to recover? What was Lily's mindset at that stage?
So the first one was like 15 years old, pretty oblivious. Like you don't really know what's going on. Like I remember waking up from surgery going, oh, how good is this? My knee's fixed. How good. Thinking I could walk out of the hospital in my little naive 15-year-old mind.
Like everything's better now.
Everything's better. It's fixed. How good. Oh, so silly. But in a way, I'm kind of glad that I was so naive, because it kind of protected me a lot from the daunting stuff that was about to happen to me. And I, even now, like looking back on it and knowing I've done my knee again, like I know what to expect, so it'll be easier this time. Or I've done my knee again. Okay, I know everything to expect this time because I've done it twice. No, it gets harder each time. So don't ever let anyone tell you that it's easier the more you do it, because it's not.
I don't think your knee exploding would get any easier. And your headspace,
no.
Even though you know what you're walking into and you've got an idea of what the road to recovery looks like, that I'd assume would only make it worse, because I saw your rehab and it was hardcore. Like it was hardcore. Like I thought you trained hard. Watching you rehab was something else entirely. And then to watch you go through that over and over and over again. And you do have an incredible amount of resilience, but it was beating down on you like it would for anybody.
It's almost like I felt like I was just an exposed nerve there for a while, just being hammered and hammered and hammered over and over again, until at the point where I was just like totally numb and I didn't know what to do or where to go. Especially and especially so after we realized the surgery was botched and it was going to take a lot to fix, mum flew back home with me. I think she had someone else run the lodge for a little bit or something, and
pitched in. I remember.
I think everyone just pitched in. Honestly, Steve was running the bar for at one point there. I think all the booze went missing. Fred and Lulu were in the kitchen cooking the guest toasties. I don't even know how that place was still standing. There was fireworks being thrown everywhere, BB gun fights of a night. Like it was such a wild.
I said, "Can you go check on my kids?"
Yeah. Honestly, most fun though. Like looking back on it, most fun we've ever had.
Oh yeah, the golden years.
So we went back to Australia. We got directed to a different surgeon who was number 2.
Wasn't there a footy player surgeon?
So he does a lot of AFL players. His name's Hayden Morris. Cannot recommend him enough. He's put my knees back together too many times to count. He's done a lot of skiers as well. So he's done Greta's knee. He's done my knee. He's done some aerial skiers and ski crosses. So, and he really takes everything into account. So he made me do all these tests to test how stretchy my ligaments were, which they are, like super stretchy. Like he made me do this test, like if I can put my thumb all the way back to my arm, and he's like,
so
okay,
you're
you have
hypermobile, so that's obviously where the first surgeon fucked up.
Yeah, correct. So he had a good look and said, okay, like, let's get you in, let's do the reconstruction. Got in to do the second reconstruction, so I was 16 years old, and he realised that it was more botched than we thought it was originally, and he basically couldn't fix it. And so what he did was he did a bone graft, and what that consists of is taking bone from another part of my leg and condensing it into flakes, and then those flakes then get put in the holes that were originally drilled into my knee, and they plug up those holes because the holes are in the incorrect position. So we need to plug them up as much as we can. So
a clean slate.
A clean slate. So he did a bone graft, right? And
calcify and then like form solid bone. Is that what?
That's the idea. So, but at the same time, we didn't have time on our side, right? So I woke up thinking, okay, my knee's fixed. Everything's okay. I'm on the other side. And Mum goes to me, Lily, he couldn't fix it. We're going to have to come back in 4 weeks and try again. And that I remember just like lying in the hospital bed, just like sobbing, going, is this ever going to end? Is it really ever going to end? I just had to do nothing for 4 weeks, could not move. That bone needed time to set. So 4 weeks later, came back, and the bone at this point was like chewing gum. It wasn't set properly. So he actually had to get a special machine in from America. Instead of drilling the new holes in the ideal position, it kind of pushed it apart. So we're still getting the ideal angle of those tunnels, but at the same time, we're plugging up the incorrect ones.
Right. Pushing the chewing gum to the side.
Pushing it to the side, correct. This surgery was my longest one yet, so this was about 6 or 7 hours long. It took him to, and we didn't do a hamstring graft because obviously there's not much left to take because they took so much of it the first time from the botched surgery. So he did a quad graft, so he took some of my quad, and then he fixed my other ligaments which were in strife because they were overcompensating for my ACL being so fucked up. This was the longest recovery I would ever have. So I actually didn't get back on snow until almost 2 years later from this surgery. So I would have been 18 when I first like fully got back on snow properly.
But you started studying in that time, didn't you? Or was you?
I think I was in high school. So I was just finishing high school.
Oh, you were finishing correspondence.
But I guess you were able to go to high school, or were you doing that remote?
I was doing distance ed at this stage. So I went on to distance ed in year 10, and I did year 10, 11 and 12 distance ed because like I couldn't even walk for almost 2 years. Like how was I going to go to school? So it suited me perfectly.
Far out. Heavy, Lil. Yeah, it's really awesome. Not awesome, but really intriguing, I guess is a better word, to hear the full story of that.
Mm-hmm.
How there's not really another word than fucked.
Yeah.
It was for you to think of your...
And so
Yeah, it was awful.
Chewing gum?
Oh,
that's
not ideal. Not what we're after.
But I'm happy to say that since I've had that fixed, that leg I've never had an issue with ever.
That leg.
That leg. The left leg never had another issue.
Great.
We got there.
Yeah.
We got there in the end.
Amazing.
Until the right one blew up.
God.
And that was I had a long stint. So 18 since I came back from that injury, and I had one really slow comeback season where I didn't race and I barely trained. I just skied and I got my confidence back very, very slowly. And
strength, right?
Strength, exactly. And then 19 was when I started competing again. I had a bit of a comeback and I won all the national champs, and then I was doing well overseas as well. And then season after that, I think I didn't finish a single race. I just had you go back onto my FIS profile. I think there's something like 40 races in a row, just DNF, 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 DNF.
Because I had a quick look. Lily, and you had some
stats.
Yeah, I had a quick look to make sure I was, clued up. You had a couple of really good number 1, number 2, number 3 finishes, and in in between that as a true sender, as I would say. It was like, did not finish.
Yeah, you're either podium or you're off.
The DNF chunks in there are actually like sickening. I can't even go back and look at them.
And I remember just from the days that I was racing, like sometimes when you get a couple of DNFs, it's almost like you get stuck in this like cyclone. You can't get out. You just keep. Mental. Oh, it's such a mental thing to then break through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember speaking to Steve about this when I was in the thick of like my worst DNF stint, and he coined it perfectly. He goes, Lily, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, like you are right now, it is easier to DNF a race than it is to finish. And that's just the way it stays like that for a little bit. And I'm like, yeah I know that. Yeah.
But man, I think I'd rather DNF than, you know, do poorly in a way. You know, it's
I had that mindset a lot.
Yeah, I'm either podium or I'm out of the race.
Or especially if I did a race, I knew like, you know, you compare yourself to girls that you've been skiing with prior, and you know that like you can beat these girls. And especially if I was doing a race where they would beat me, I'd be like, DNFing the next run, not having this, not having it.
Not having this on my permanent record.
Competitive much?
Very much, can you tell?
Yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a crossover there with with racing against a bunch of women, and then probably going on to something like Farmer Wants a Wife. It's almost, there's almost a bit of a paradigm there. There's
a correlation. Yeah, look, the difference is, I'll say this, I'm a very competitive person. I said this in all my interviews. Very competitive person, but when there's games being played, that is where my interest is lost. I don't see it as a competition anymore. I see it as just a ridiculous theatrical bullshit thing that I want no interest in.
Yeah.
I'm an elite athlete. I don't play games. I play sport.
I don't. Exactly. I don't play games. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get bored by stupid games.
Yeah.
Let's have a party. Let's play a game.
Yeah.
I just want to drink and hang out.
See, the only time, on the flip side of you guys, the only time I'm competitive is if there's a drinking game happening. Like, I was never competitive when I was ski racing. Like, I hit my peak when I was about 12. I was killing it, and then after that, I was like, I just don't really want to go up against anyone. It wasn't for me, but put me in a drinking game, and then my competitive streak comes out.
It's a bit like that at times, you know, depending on how we are. Like, you know, you obviously, to be an elite sports person, you've got to be.
You've got to be competitive against yourself in ski racing.
Yeah.
Because it's not, being competitive against other people will only get you so far, but you need to be competitive against you.
Yeah, you got to want to beat yourself.
100%. I was my own worst enemy at the end of the day, like that season where I had so many DNFs. It was all because like I had a good comeback season, and I was like, right, I've missed out on so much. I've had so much taken away from me. I need to like hit the gas, hit the ground running. I have way too much to catch up on. I'm falling behind everyone else, blah, 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 blah. And then I was putting all this pressure on myself. And then, of course, I wasn't finishing races because it meant too much to me. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when it's something that means too much to you, you're never going to have a good time doing it.
No.
And so tell us where it went from there. So you had a decent comeback season, DNF season, and then I'm guessing the other knee joined the party.
Yeah, look, I had a good period of time there where I had niggles, and I had like one season where I had a few concussions and I just hit my head really hard on the ice a few times in New Zealand, actually, because at the good old Concrete Peak, that's a good place to do that.
Icy over there.
After that, it was just really up and down. Like, I'd have great moments, I'd have crap moments, and as we know, sport is a massive roller coaster, and most of the time more down than it is up. And then I really started to get it together after when COVID hit. I had a bit of a break, and that's when I got my cert in veterinary nursing. That's when I started working with wildlife. And I just had a break from skiing because I was really burnt out, wasn't where I wanted to be, and I knew that I needed to just take a step back. So COVID was a really good excuse for me to do that. And yeah, so I got my cert in veterinary nursing, and I started working with wildlife, keeping and presenting. So I'd take animals out, schools, universities, festivals, show them, educate people, which I found really rewarding, and it gave me really good public speaking skills as well.
Yeah.
And then that kind of set me on the wildlife train. And then once COVID was starting to wrap up, I I was talking to mum a lot, and we were like, you know, I reckon we should give skiing another crack. Tossing up going, like, where do we go if we do this? And I said, well, I've never done America. I'd really love to give America a crack. So we made the decision to come back after COVID was wrapping up and go to America, do something a little bit different. And America for me was just like the most fun. America and New Zealand were really like the most fun I've ever had skiing, just because maybe you didn't have that language barrier there like you do in Europe. And the people that you met, like the college circuit, was so much fun. The coaches over there, I had just like such a good community of people there. Like I just found an amazing community, especially at Copper Mountain in Colorado. Team Summit there just like welcomed me with open arms, and the two head coaches were so incredible and invested, and I felt like I made huge leaps and bounds in my skiing by being there. I pretty much moved to Colorado for 2 years, and I was skiing from October to April, and then I'd go home for a month or two, and then I'd go back for April and for May and June, because I'd have spring training there because the altitude's so high. And that is where I truly started to see gains in my skiing. I was beating boys. I was beating people like so much less points than me. And I was like, wow, I really fell in love with the process of improving, getting faster, tweaking your equipment, and just like the whole thing was just like, this is what it's all about. This is what I've been working towards my entire life. This is so good. I felt like I was in the right spot, had all the right people around me. And that's when I was in my second season in America, and it was end of the season. It was April, and I was in Sun Valley in Idaho. It was US national champs. It was on national TV. There was hundreds of thousands of people there. It was like one of the biggest races I've ever done. I felt like a full celebrity. I had people coming up to me asking for photos. Like, it was crazy. I was loving every second of it.
Especially being in Australia, and they would have been like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, it was wild. And I had a really good stint of Super G races. I'd won a couple of Super G races. I've podiumed in a lot, and I was like, I'm really figuring this out. I think this is really going to be where it's at for me. GS was really going really well, and then Super G was just here, and I was like, damn, this is going to be really good. Slalom was out the window. Slalom had been out the window for a couple of years. I'd said goodbye to that. Wasn't my thing. And I remember being in Sun Valley in Idaho and doing the Super G, and I think 7 girls that day who I knew personally did their knees in the Super G race. And I remember standing, and it was just like stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And I was like, I wasn't far back because my points were quite good, but it just took so long for the race to continue because so many people were just absolutely annihilating themselves. And my coach at the time, Tim Caife, who is Alice Robinson's coach, I cannot recommend Tim highly enough. He's like one of the most amazing people and coaches who I've ever met. And I'm so glad I had him in my corner at these races. He circled back and came up to me, and he's like, you know, had a plan, stick to the plan, let's go. And I remember skiing the Super G, I knew I was holding back because there was no way I could have given my all, knowing how many girls before me had done their knee.
Was it super icy, or was it just...
Look, it was really dry, obviously, in that part of America, and they'd injected the slope, so it was grippy and icy.
They injected it, yeah.
But not like snow that I'm used to. It was just like, it was a really tight set Super G.
I was going to say, sometimes it's just the way that the course is set. When you put that many athletes going down.
Yeah. It was really tight set Super G for such aggressive snow, and it just was not a good combination. So you almost, to make it down and survive it, you almost had to hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, and I got to the bottom, and I didn't get a terrible result, but it wasn't really what I wanted. I just felt good for surviving it.
Yeah.
Really, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And then the next day was a GS, and this is where I was really pushing and getting some good results in, and I knew that I was going to do something good. The snow was better the next day. Sorry, Siri. The snow was even better the next day, and it was like grippy Colorado, perfect, exactly what I've been training on, exactly what I thrive in. And Tim and I had a plan. We stuck to it, and I was feeling so good. We did such a good warm-up. And then, watching the video footage back, I felt really good. My skis felt a little bit catchy a couple of times because the snow was like aggressive and grippy. I even got a shock. I remember when I was skiing, I was like, this is a lot. And then got into the groove of it. And then looking at my splits. Yeah, it was a little chalky, but injected, remember? So it was really, really firm.
Yeah.
And the GS course was quite a nice open course. So it was really good. I remember looking at my splits after, and I was getting closer and closer the further down the course I went, and I was like 6/10 off the leader. So who was like Nina O'Brien at the time, I think. So World Cup skier, and I was skiing really well. And then I remember seeing the finish line, and I was 4 gates from the finish line, and I'm guilty of getting a bit of finish line fever. So when I see it, I just fucking go ham. And because it was a little bit of a bowl in the finish line, there was a right footer, and I had the extra G-force of that bowl, and I got finish line fever and just tried to crank a really tight GS turn, and my right knee just exploded, and I fell the other way and just slid down, stopped, start, and tried to get ski patrol, and I just stood up straight away, and I knew exactly what had happened, and I was like, I'm not going to sit, like I refused to sit down on the snow, and I stood up straight away on my left leg, and I was like, not really sinking in, but also sinking in at the same time. And they're like, oh, we'll get ski patrol down here. And I'm like, don't bother. Like, I'm not getting carried off this hill. And I kind of like looked down, and I knew like this was going to be the last time like I would ever put these boots on, the last time I would ever wear this suit, the last time I would ever wear this helmet. And it was just like so confronting. Yeah. And I just clicked my ski off, and I'm like, I'm fucking skiing off the hill on my own. And I went down and through the finish and on one ski. And then Tim came and met me, and he was like, what happened? And I was like, my knee's fucking, it's gone. And we kind of just sat there, both of us in shock, and poor Tim started crying with me, and we were both just sitting there crying together. The US ski team doctors came up, and they were like, oh, like, do you want us to check your knee? And I'm like, don't bother. I know what's happened.
I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And then just from there, going from Idaho back to Colorado on crutches to get the rest of my skis, get like 18 pairs of skis back to Australia. I actually like have wiped most of it from my memory because it's so traumatic.
Just black that out.
Yeah, we're just going to black that out. And then getting back home after that, and just...
How the fuck did you get them all back to Australia?
I had to buy one of my friends a flight and get him to actually like wheel me through the airport and carry all my skis.
Yeah. What a job.
Yeah. How many ski bags did you have? Oh, right.
Too many.
Yeah, because like I've always travelled with fat skis, so it's probably,
a ski and a half.
Yeah, and these skis, like GS skis, Super G skis, they're heavy. Like they weigh a lot.
Lots of titanium.
Yeah, I definitely don't miss travelling as a ski racer.
I feel so privileged travelling now because I've just got a little bag, and I'm like, I don't have to carry my boots, don't have to carry a million things, I don't have to break my back anymore.
You don't even need to go look at overweight luggage.
Nah, don't even need to look at it.
Or getting on the plane with your ski boots around your neck because you're not risking losing your ski boots. Like, that was the thing that Dad always drilled into me. He was like, you do not put your ski boots in checked baggage. Like, you take them on the plane.
It's like the one bit of equipment that is irreplaceable.
Yep.
I always just have a backpack on and hide my ski boots when I was
checking in
ski bum and like had to travel with my ski boots. It just never got seen.
The tricks that my dad taught me with oversized luggage and skis, my God.
Oh, they've cracked down on it so much these days.
I know, like
get away with anything.
Back in my day, we used to, in Melbourne Airport, you go and you check in and they'd be like, oh yeah, oversized luggage down that way. Dad would
around the corner. No, it's still like that. You can still do a dodgy.
Sometimes they weigh it when you're there, whereas back when we were ski racing, Dad would run back to the car and grab like another 6 set of skis and we'd shove them in the ski bag and then put it into the overweight.
Yeah. I know they still do that because when I went to Japan, I had to do that, and I chucked some more stuff in because oversized is around the corner.
Well, even when I was leaving Japan every year, I'd do luggage forward, and it was like back in the day, it was like, oh, double ski bag, like whatever, it's like $120.
Yeah.
And now you try and do that, it's like got to be weighed, everything, and I just like say double ski bag, 15 kilos, and have like 50 kilos in this ski bag packed. Like, back to Australia.
Yeah.
But no, you can't get away with it.
You
so
can't
Lily,
get away
that
with
was
anything.
the third knee and the other knee, and you knew it was
game over.
That was
game
just
over.
done.
Yeah, and then I think I had in my head, like, I wanted to have another comeback. I kind of, like, had to trick myself a little bit because I never would have gone through with surgery and another rehab if I didn't have something to look forward to. So I kind of tricked myself into being like, yeah, Lily, like, you'll come back and you'll go skiing again and it'll be fine, it'll be fine. So, like, I got through the surgery and the rehab. I had to trick myself a little bit. And I got through the surgery and the rehab, and which was probably my easiest one yet. Recovery, just like in the first 4 or 5 months, took longer than my last one because they have a new thing that they're doing these days for athletes where they anchor the new graft on. They just have like a new technique that they use. It's like a lateral anchor tendinosis or something. I'd have to look it up. And basically they just use more metal to anchor it in so it's stronger. Like it's never actually going to tear on the bone anymore. Which is what it was for me. So I actually tore my right ACL off my femoral bone completely. Oh. So it wasn't like my other ones were like torn in half, whereas this one was just like straight torn off the bone.
Clean off.
Yeah.
Divan.
So it was hard. Like the first 4 or 5 months were hard because in the past I'd always make a lot of progress in that time, whereas the first 4 or 5 months now are just like no progress.
You feel like you're going anywhere.
Yeah. So that was tough. And then I went overseas and joined a team and did all the steps to come back from my injury and got back on snow and got skiing again. And then when it came to the time of me to get back to racing, I wanted to, but there was just something that I was just like, I don't know if I should, I don't know if it's for me. And then I remember doing a training run and I went off a really big jump and had a really bad landing, and my knee, I landed really back seat, and I felt my knee, my new knee that was just fixed, stretched to the point where I should have felt a pop and it should have gone again, but it didn't. And I got up from that landing. I didn't crash. I just landed super back seat and just almost fucked myself again. And my knee was really stretched. Like I could feel the stretch. It was really swollen. And I'm like, have I just done it again?
Yeah.
I didn't feel a pop, but I knew something wasn't right. And I saw everything just flash before my eyes. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done. And I know I'm done. I don't actually want to race and put this at risk again. If I have to have another surgery, you're going to find me hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Like this is me done. And I had an MRI done, and they actually had the incorrect results sent back to me, and they told me I'd torn my ACL again. And then at that stage, I was like, this is my fifth knee. This is my fifth knee. Yeah, and then I talked to my surgeon from Australia, and he was like, this is the guy you need to go and see. He's in Innsbruck. Go and see him. Send your results to him. I went and saw him, and he felt my knee. He looked at my results. He's like, you haven't torn your ACL. I can see it very clearly right there. And I was like,
yeah.
He's like, you've stretched it real bad, but it's not torn. It's still there. And he's like, you need to just rest now. And I'm like,
yeah, I've seen that happen quite a few times in Japan where people have been told their ACL was done, like back early, like before the 2010s. And they're like, yep, your ACL's done. Gotta go home to Australia, go get surgery. Open up his knee. Oh, your ACL was still in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did my knee in Japan. Same thing. I was like, I'm not seeing a doctor over here. No. I'm too scared. I let my knee seize up for 4 weeks until I went home. Then like, oh, it's just your MCL. And did 4 weeks of hydrotherapy and started skiing gingerly again and was fine. But, yeah, I was like, I'm too scared to get a shit diagnosis.
Oh, wrong diagnosis.
Because I'd rather just wait until I get home. Language barrier, different technology,
no painkillers,
country, doctors, blah blah blah. Yeah. So feel you.
Well, they've actually, my physio, her name's Jane Rooney, and she specialises in knees. She leads the research at the moment for healing ACLs without surgery. So she's actually
so much more about this now.
She's actually invented this bracing protocol, which in a certain position, based on your injury extent, the ACL will heal on its own. Unfortunately, I wasn't a candidate for that because my ACL was torn off the bone. So I definitely needed surgery.
It's not going to wiggle its way back.
No, it's not going to wiggle its way back at all.
It's recorded.
But she has been a very instrumental person to have in my corner throughout this whole process. Love you, Jane. And then what else was I going to say? I had something else I was going to say. Now I've lost my train of thought.
Don't worry, you'll do that.
Yeah. Something else about knees. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, well, we'll start talking about animals and then you'll start remembering about your knee or something.
Yeah, something, yeah.
So Lily, I guess you realised that was kind of, you had the moment. How, because I'm similar, obviously, you know, I've stepped away from Japan, still have the house there. And, you know, a lot of people who've skied a lot or whatever, they're like, I can't wait to get back to Australia to go skiing. And I'm like, I don't think I ever really feel that way. I'm like, I'm excited to go ski POW again because I love skiing POW. But I'm not, because I've skied so much, I'm just like, I know that when I go skiing again, hopefully, I don't think I'll ski much this winter in Australia because it's been a bad start. I'll probably get a couple of weeks up there or a couple of weeks, whatever. But like, hey, I'm like excited to get back to Japan and ski some POW. But after skiing so much, I don't really.
The hunger's not there as much.
I don't feel like I need to go skiing or whatever.
Yeah.
I spent a lifetime doing.
The desperation's not there.
Yeah. How do you feel considering the racing and the adrenaline from the speed? And is there any hunger still there, or do you just want to like come ski POW in Japan with us?
Yeah, look, I definitely get an itch. There's always an itch there to go skiing. It was really bad earlier this year, like December, January. The itch was really, really bad because I was looking at everyone in Japan and I was like,
I know, I got a text from you and you're like, I'm going to Japan, you've got to come with me in like 3 days.
Yeah. It was like a really last minute trip. I was just like, I need to do this. I need to go over there. And it was actually after I left Australia Zoo Wildlife Hospital, and it was a really, next to being injured, it was probably the hardest thing that's happened to me because it was a dream job for me and I had to end up leaving. I am a really big fan of, in the moment when I'm really upset, I just want to run away from my problems and have a break, especially when it's really overwhelming. And when something bad happens to me, I'm just going to divert to something that I know I'm going to enjoy. Mm-hmm. And that was Aaron, who had already booked a trip, and I was like, well, I've just left the zoo, so I'm just going to go to Japan and just forget all my problems just for 2 weeks, and I'm just going to enjoy myself, go back to my roots and just enjoy skiing. And I think it's going to be really good for me because I hadn't skied at this point in 2 years since I retired. Yeah.
Did you ski POW and froth out?
Oh yeah. It was so good. I remember, like, you know, it's a good day when you don't think about your phone or your calls or having a doom scroll or anything. You're just out there, freezing cold. You know you've got frostbite. You know you're exhausted and dehydrated, but you just, like, I could not get enough runs in.
Yeah.
We were
that was always my problem. The second I'd friggin' get on the chairlift, my phone would start ringing. I was like, I'm cursed.
Yeah.
If I was like at work, like the phone wouldn't ring. But the second, or if I was like doing something that was boring, looking after kids, the phone wouldn't ring. I'd be like jumping onto the chairlift every time. Like the phone would ring with a fucking problem. Why have you forsaken me?
Got to turn on that do not disturb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Busy skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Day and day.
So Lily, as far as skiing goes, it's just for fun now. Just to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like the adrenaline. Yeah, I want to go fast. I want to jump off some shit and do silly stuff still.
Do you still want to put on your GS skis and like...
Oh, I went to Japan with my GS skis. They're my favorite skis to ski on still to this day. I will take them anywhere I'm skiing. I'll take them everywhere. And I remember like leading up to my Japan trip, I would like have dreams just about skiing GS on somewhere really steep with like really, really hard snow. And I'm like, that's all I want. Yeah, that's literally all I want.
I have dreams about skiing because I haven't been for a while. It's about jumping off shit and power. Yeah.
No, but there's a balance here. There's a balance, right? Because to me, like, there's two great feelings that I get, and one of them is from skiing deep pow and getting face shots and jumping off stuff and being with like an amazing group of people, and then the other side of that is being on my own and had a really, really steep slope, perfectly groomed, perfectly icy, and I can just fucking crank some GS turns or some super G turns down there. Those are my two perfect picture perfect dreams.
What gives you more adrenaline and joy? That's like probably, I think I kind of answered my own question. Maybe the GS skis give you more adrenaline and the power gives you more joy. But is it different?
They're different. They're totally different. So with like GS, I'm thinking of like how much power and speed can I get out of these skis each turn? I'm going to crank it to the max and see what I can do here, and what type of angles and what type of course am I imagining skiing, and absorbing different types of terrain was just so much fun. And then PAL, you're just like skiing down, like feeling like you're floating. That feeling is so different because you're not getting speed and angles and kind of danger out of that ski or out of that turn. You're just floating and going where it takes you and going to whatever feels good. And I mean, they're both really like rare feelings when you think about it. And they
are completely different. Like
different.
You could be the best GS skier, but if you tried to treat skiing GS the same as skiing power, you can have a fucking problem.
Exactly.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Like composition, you're floating in one and you're being gentle while being aggressive to keep your speed up, while the other one you're just 100% aggression, right?
Yeah. And then I suppose in GS I've got about 8 different things I'm thinking about at once in terms of my body position, my legs, and how I'm rolling up the ski, at what point in the apex of the turn I'm pressing to get the most angles, when am I dropping my hip, where am I looking when I'm turning? And I feel like as a female, Layla, we thrive when we have a million different things going on in our head, whereas males are a bit different. You guys like just having one thing to focus on. So in that sense, I love having a million things to think of each turn. And then you've got powder, where you're just thinking about the feeling and what feels good and what I'm enjoying.
Yeah, they're like two different sports sometimes.
Yeah. I really do think it's like two different, like skiing, even a groomer versus power.
Yeah.
They don't, like you could be an awesome groomer skier and you see it with most intermediate skiers. Doesn't mean that they can ski in 5 centimetres of power, let alone a metre.
It's completely different thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty much all I did in Japan when we were guiding, was so many, intermediate to advanced skiers, and they're like, no, I'll be fine. And you get them in powder and they just like, what is going on?
Not fine.
I'm not fine.
Not fine. Yeah.
Because it's such a different feeling, and you really have to surrender to powder. Whereas on hard pack, like you're in control, you're making moves.
Yeah.
As you said, you're like, all right, how am I going to get the most speed out of this turn? How can I be most dynamic? Whereas when you're skiing powder, it's just like,
you just switch off. You just switch off.
It's like,
speed is your friend in power, and people get nervous by it. So then they slow down and then they get bogged.
Yeah.
And then they're fucked.
And I suppose I have found that feeling in other things as well. For example, like I've done a lot of diving with like sharks and turtles and stuff. Where I live on the Sunshine Coast, obviously there's so many places to do that. And when you're holding your breath and you're down there and you're seeing all these animals, you do like switch off and completely surrender to the water, right? And it's such a good way to just lose track of time, feeling those same things I feel during skiing. Like you need those elements and those things that you do in your life to be able to switch off, lose track of time. Just
well, that's what we were saying last week. The active meditation portion of it.
Yeah.
I can
biking, surfing, swimming, skiing. It's just I'm concentrating on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The distraction.
And the thing I love about being in the water, I can't have my phone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't have the distraction of it.
Real peace.
Yeah.
All right. So Lily, where are we going from here? Skiing's now a game of pleasure and fun. So I expect that we will maybe this winter be doing an episode of us all shredding pow and bloody
Wombats ramble. What are you doing?
No, I'm more Japan focused.
Yeah.
I still have my house in Japan.
Where is this?
Let's go ski in Japan and do that. But
Yeah.
what's next with you after, a little bit of extra reach on the socials and really, making the most out of what you're doing with conservation and a bit of fame from kissing a farmer?
Believe it or not, I actually lost followers during Farmer. I lost followers. I didn't gain anything from it. And all my followers that you see are all followers who are interested in wildlife and conservation. And that's where my reach is. Like, no one cares about Farmer. People have even commented, like, saying, you've lost me at Farmer. Like, I'm only here for the wildlife. And that's where my audience is invested in.
Even better.
Yeah, which is sick. Like, I'm glad I did Farmer. Like, it was an opportunity that I wanted to say yes to and experience. And you know what? At the end of the day, wasn't the right move, and I wasn't the right person.
I guess you got exposure, but you found your people through it, I guess, right?
Yeah, like I got my exposure in other ways by being me and posting wildlife stuff that I wanted to. And at the end of the day, I think that's a bit more of a flex.
Oh, fully. And
to have.
And that's the stuff that you want to be pursuing. So that's way more important anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess what's next for me? Like, I've got a couple of exciting things in the pipeline that are still like working out the kinks for, that I won't tell you about yet, but wildlife-based stuff. Yeah.
Episode 2.
It is. I'll be able to like talk about it soon once it ends up being concrete. Lots of exciting things happening, and I guess I want to continue filming more stuff in the wild. So I'd love to see more of Australia and remote places and showcase how unique the wildlife is here, because at the moment I've done a lot of stuff on the Sunshine Coast, and yeah, Sunshine Coast is great to be if you want to work with wildlife, but I want to do the whole of Australia. I want to go to Africa. I want to do South America. I want to do Antarctica in a way that's a little bit different to what most other people are doing, that's more closer to me and who I am as well. Like, I have this crazy idea where I want to go skiing in Antarctica and tick that off as like my 7th continent, and also be like leopard seals, penguins, whales. That's just a crazy idea that I have in my head right now.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I was actually talking to Sam Perry, who my daughter goes to school with his daughter. He's like, my wife just went to Europe for 3 weeks. And I was like, I'm due a holiday. Like, let's go skiing in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I want to go to Antarctica so badly.
3 weeks and do nothing.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to waste a ski trip without my now children. So I'd probably prefer somewhere a bit more powdery, but that would also be.
But it's part of the experience.
Yeah, it was
Like
actually
even Greece. Like we've got a friend, Johnny Faulkner, who's a guide, and he takes groups to Greece and like all these weird places that you would never even think that there'd be snow at. I'm like, that's almost more exciting to me now. Like going to some of the kind of odd places. Gulmarg. Yeah, and I did India. I did Kashmir.
Bitch.
Well, no, you'll be happy to know that it was way too dangerous, and we didn't get to ski at all. It was just slipping the whole time. I woke up with a machine gun in my face on the way there. It was a whole experience. India in itself was like
it's a disputed border.
Oh, yeah. It was. It's a lot. It's heaps.
Kashmir sounds amazing, though.
It is stunning. Oh my god. Yeah. That
too
is
many
definitely
people.
Yeah. I wouldn't say conservation is their strongest suit quite yet.
Just too many humans.
Yeah, they've got other issues to compete with, I think, before that comes into their sphere. But yeah, I think going to Antarctica, that sounds amazing. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I can see it.
Maybe we'll go find some weird aliens there, some theories that are going on at the moment.
Busy continent down there.
What a podcast.
I know.
Well, Lily, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we could talk shit for hours more, but let's make this a thing. Let's go skiing in Huckleberry, or I still do have a house there, 3 bedrooms. You girls are in.
Yeah, we can bunk in. My place is rented out, so
done. So yeah, let's go skiing in Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I haven't been back it's been 2 years now for me, which has been the first time since 2007. I haven't been in the Northern Hemisphere for a winter. So nearly 20 years.
I actually went back for the first time and drove past your old lodge as well, Lil. We did a little drive-by. That was going back in 6 years. It was bizarre. Yeah. I know. We're good at that, which is embarrassing.
I'm actually trying to write an article a bit about this and talking about the landscape of Japan and how it was the Aussies acting a fool and then the Chinese coming in and booking out all the restaurants and not talking about it and not telling all the restaurants that they had 5 bookings.
Oh yeah.
And then the servo people hating Aussies and having to deal with rude people from other Asian countries. And
yeah,
I want to do a full article about from when I first got there in 2006-07 to now and how all the changes Niseko versus Hakuba and all of that's gone through. But yeah, I guess that's a story for another day. But let's go to Antarctica. Let's go to Japan skiing. Let's go skiing elsewhere. Lily, be the best version of yourself, which you are. You're a super inspirational, dedicated, I can do anything I put my mind to human. So thank you for coming on and telling us a bit about your struggles. You're an absolute weapon, and we know that you put your mind to something else and you'll kill it. Yeah, thanks for being in town, Layla, and sitting on the velvet couch. And Lily, we hope to talk to you soon again and go ski some power with some beacons on.
Yeah. Will be.
Thanks, legends. I will press stop.
Mwah.
We play fast, I play slow, them up flows like nobody knows. Them kill sound, a sound clash and dance all and mash up stage shows. But some guys don't recognize, I realize, so them up them own style. A long time them they are now, them not just come. And it's been a long while. Them want a piece of the pie. Whole heap of doublet and tune off a buy. Food to feed them family, that's no lie. Any idiot little sound try to test them I go die. Them not give up. Look how long them a wait. A full time now them get a slice of the cake. No sound fix because them bust through the gate. Through them play a good tune and this a sound the people rate. Them will mash you up. All over the UK, America and JA. People want Kia Bamba in a dance. Them no business at all. Could have friend or foe. Before them play them want them advance. That go sell up them sound for no diamond and gold. Big house, fancy clothes and car. Kia Bamba sound, you know them are the champion. Micah and Killer be a born stars. Them have tunes and have dubs and have flows like nobody knows. Them kill sound, a sound clash and dance all and mash up stage shows. But some guys don't realize, I recognize that them have them own style. A long time them they are know them not just come. And it's been a long